Welcome back to another episode of DreadHallowsTV. This time I have 3 stories about paranormal activities. Sit back and relax. I promise you that it's going to be intense. Story 1. Nestled on the outskirts of a sleepy town lay a decrepit estate, known to the locals as the Hollow Manor. The mansion was a brooding monolith of Gothic architecture, shrouded in ivy, its windows like empty eyes staring into the void. Its ominous reputation stretched back centuries, whispered tales of tragedies, hauntings, and unspeakable secrets. Sophie, a young and adventurous journalist, had heard rumors of the Hollow Manor's dark history. She was drawn to stories of the supernatural, and her thirst for the unknown led her to investigate the mansion. With her camera and recorder in hand, she embarked on a journey that would challenge her beliefs about the afterlife. One gloomy afternoon, Sophie received a mysterious letter. It bore no return address, only the words, "Come to the Hollow Manor." Intrigued and undaunted, she set out for the mansion. As she approached, the air grew cold and heavy, and a sense of foreboding washed over her. The mansion's imposing doors creaked open as if beckoning her inside. Sophie entered, her footsteps echoing through the cavernous foyer. Dust-covered portraits of long-dead residents lined the walls, their eyes following her every move. As Sophie explored the mansion's darkened corridors, she felt an inexplicable presence. Whispers, like faint echoes of the past, seemed to linger in the air. She followed the ghostly voices to a grand library filled with ancient books and towering shelves. In the library, Sophie encountered an ethereal figure, a woman in a flowing, tattered gown. Her hair was ashen, and her eyes held a melancholic sorrow. The figure introduced herself as Eleanor, a former resident of the Hollow Manor who had perished under mysterious circumstances. Eleanor's spectral presence intrigued Sophie, and she realized that the mansion held secrets that begged to be uncovered. With Eleanor as her guide, Sophie began to investigate the mansion's unsettling history, desperate to unravel the mysteries of the afterlife. As the days turned into weeks, Sophie delved into the Hollow Manor's archives. She unearthed old journals, letters, and diaries that chronicled the tragic lives of its former inhabitants. Each entry revealed stories of love, betrayal, and despair, as well as cryptic mentions of supernatural occurrences. Sophie's nights were haunted by restless spirits who shared their stories. They spoke of spectral apparitions, mysterious voices in the dark, and the feeling of being watched from the shadows. The mansion's history was a tapestry of tragedy, and its walls held the echoes of countless souls. As Sophie's investigation continued, she formed a profound connection with Eleanor. They spent hours together in the grand library, piecing together the mansion's dark past. Sophie learned of Eleanor's tragic love affair with a servant named Samuel, which had ended in betrayal and death. Eleanor revealed that the mansion had become a nexus for lost souls, a place where the living and the dead converged. The spirits longed to communicate with the world of the living, to share their stories, and to find peace. Sophie, inspired by her newfound connection with the spirits, decided to document their stories. She knew that her articles could shed light on the mansion's history and give voice to those who had been silenced by time. As Sophie delved deeper into her investigation, she began to experience the mansion's supernatural phenomena firsthand. She heard disembodied footsteps echoing in the empty halls, witnessed objects moving on their own, and encountered chilling apparitions that reached out to her from the shadows. One night, as she ventured into the mansion's forgotten cellar, she stumbled upon a hidden chamber. Its walls were adorned with cryptic symbols, and at its center stood an ancient tome bound in leather and engraved with esoteric markings. Sophie realized that the book held the key to the mansion's mysteries. Sophie's quest for answers led her to perform a ritual, guided by the words of the ancient tome. It was a ritual meant to bridge the gap between the living and the dead, to allow the spirits to communicate with the world once more. As she chanted the incantation, a supernatural force enveloped her, and the mansion seemed to come alive with spectral energy. The spirits materialized before her, their presence palpable. Among them was Eleanor, who had waited centuries for this moment. But Sophie soon realized the price of her actions. The ritual had opened a gateway not only for the spirits of the Hollow Manor but also for a malevolent entity, a vengeful force that sought to claim the souls of the living and the dead. As the malevolent entity threatened to consume everything in its path, Sophie and Eleanor devised a plan to banish it from the mansion. With the help of the other spirits, they engaged in a battle between the forces of light and darkness. The battle raged on through the night, the mansion itself a battleground of supernatural energies. Sophie's determination and Eleanor's guidance proved to be their greatest weapons against the malevolent force. In a climactic confrontation, Sophie and Eleanor managed to seal the malevolent entity away, banishing it from the mansion once and for all. The spirits of the Hollow Manor found their long-awaited peace, and the mansion's haunting whispers fell silent. With the malevolent entity vanquished, Sophie's connection to the spirits faded. She knew that her time at the Hollow Manor had come to an end, and she left the mansion with a heavy heart. Sophie's articles chronicling the mansion's history and her own experiences garnered attention from around the world. The Hollow Manor, once a place of fear and mystery, became a symbol of the enduring connection between the living and the dead. As Sophie looked back at the mansion one last time, she knew that the spirits of the Hollow Manor had found their peace, and their stories would be told for generations to come. Story 2. In the heart of a secluded village, where the rolling hills met the whispering woods, stood an imposing Victorian mansion known as Willow House. The village had long shunned the mansion, deeming it cursed and haunted. Generations passed, and the tales of Willow House's eerie reputation persisted. Eleanor, a reserved librarian with a fascination for the supernatural, received a letter that would change her life. It was a notification of her inheritance, the very mansion that had been whispered about for centuries. Undaunted by the ominous stories, Eleanor embarked on a journey to uncover the truth behind Willow House. As Eleanor approached the village, she was met with wary glances from the locals. They warned her to stay away from Willow House, but her curiosity was unwavering. The mansion, veiled in shadows and overgrown ivy, loomed before her. Eleanor entered the mansion, and the air grew heavy with a sense of foreboding. The interior was a labyrinth of forgotten rooms and decaying furniture. Dust-covered portraits adorned the walls, their eyes following her every move. As Eleanor explored the mansion, she began to sense a spectral presence. Whispers, like distant echoes, seemed to fill the empty rooms. She followed the ethereal voices to a grand library filled with ancient tomes. In the library, Eleanor encountered a ghostly figure, a man in a tattered suit. His features were translucent, his eyes filled with a sorrow that transcended death. He introduced himself as William, a former resident of Willow House. William's spectral presence intrigued Eleanor, and she realized that the mansion held secrets that begged to be unveiled. With William as her guide, she began to unravel the history of Willow House, determined to shed light on the mysteries of the past. As Eleanor delved deeper into her investigation, she uncovered journals, letters, and diaries that chronicled the tragic lives of Willow House's former inhabitants. Each entry revealed stories of lost love, betrayal, and despair, as well as enigmatic mentions of supernatural occurrences. Eleanor's nights were haunted by restless spirits who yearned to share their stories. They spoke of phantom footsteps in the dark, mysterious voices in the dead of night, and apparitions that appeared at the stroke of midnight. The mansion's history was a tapestry of tragedy, and its walls held the whispers of countless souls. As Eleanor continued her quest for answers, she formed a profound connection with William and the other spirits of Willow House. They shared their untold stories with her, revealing a web of secrets and intrigues that spanned generations. Eleanor discovered that the mansion was a nexus for lost souls, a place where the living and the dead converged. The spirits yearned to communicate with the world of the living, to share their stories, and to find closure. Inspired by her newfound connection with the spirits, Eleanor decided to document their stories. She knew that her writings could shed light on the mansion's history and give voice to those who had been silenced by time. As Eleanor's investigation deepened, she began to experience the mansion's supernatural phenomena firsthand. She heard disembodied laughter echoing in the empty halls, witnessed objects moving of their own accord, and encountered apparitions that beckoned her into the shadows. One night, as she ventured into the mansion's hidden basement, she stumbled upon a chamber filled with arcane symbols and ancient relics. At its center stood an ornate mirror, framed in silver and inscribed with cryptic runes. Eleanor realized that the mirror held the key to unlocking the mansion's mysteries. Eleanor's quest for answers led her to perform a ritual with the mirror as her guide. It was a ritual meant to bridge the gap between the living and the dead, to allow the spirits of Willow House to communicate with the world once more. As she chanted the incantation, a supernatural force enveloped her, and the mansion seemed to come alive with spectral energy. The spirits materialized before her, their presence palpable. Among them was William, who had waited centuries for this moment. But Eleanor soon realized the price of her actions. The ritual had opened a gateway not only for the spirits of Willow House but also for a malevolent entity, an ancient force that sought to claim the souls of the living and the dead. As the malevolent entity threatened to consume everything in its path, Eleanor and the spirits of Willow House engaged in a battle between the forces of light and darkness. The mansion itself became a battleground of supernatural energies, its walls echoing with the clash of ethereal forces. Eleanor's determination and her connection with William and the other spirits proved to be their greatest weapons against the malevolent entity. Together, they fought to protect their sanctuary and banish the ancient force back to the depths of the beyond. In a climactic confrontation, Eleanor and the spirits managed to seal the malevolent entity away, ensuring that Willow House would be free from its malevolence. The mansion's eerie echoes fell silent, and the spirits found the peace they had long sought. With the malevolent entity vanquished, Eleanor's connection to the spirits began to fade. She knew that her time at Willow House had come to an end, but the mansion held a special place in her heart. Eleanor's writings chronicling the history and the hauntings of Willow House garnered attention from around the world. The mansion, once a place of fear and mystery, became a symbol of the enduring bond between the living and the dead. As Eleanor looked back at the mansion one last time, she knew that the spirits of Willow House had found their peace, and their stories would live on to inspire generations to come. Story 3. In the heart of a desolate countryside surrounded by dense forests and shrouded in an eternal mist, lay an abandoned asylum known as Ravenswood. This imposing structure, with its crumbling facades and barred windows, was a place of torment and suffering for countless souls. Olivia, an intrepid filmmaker with a fascination for the macabre, had heard legends of Ravenswood's grim history. Its tales of madness, experimentation, and spectral hauntings piqued her curiosity. She embarked on a journey to uncover the asylum's darkest secrets. One fateful evening, Olivia received an enigmatic letter. It bore no return address, only the words, "Enter Ravenswood if you dare." Undeterred by the ominous message, she packed her camera and recording equipment and set out for the asylum. As Olivia approached the desolate institution, a sense of foreboding settled over her. Ravenswood loomed in the distance, its broken windows like empty eyes watching her every move. Undaunted, she ventured inside. Within the asylum's decaying walls, Olivia began to experience strange phenomena. Faint whispers seemed to echo through the dimly lit corridors, and chilling drafts of air brushed against her skin. She knew she was not alone. As she explored further, Olivia stumbled upon a hidden chamber filled with old patient records, diaries, and medical journals. These documents told a harrowing story of the asylum's history, a place of cruelty, suffering, and experimentation on vulnerable patients. During her nights in Ravenswood, Olivia was visited by restless spirits. They materialized as tormented souls, their faces etched with anguish. They shared their stories of mistreatment, abuse, and the horrors they had endured within the asylum's walls. The spirits yearned for justice and redemption, their spectral presence a testament to the atrocities committed in the name of medicine and science. Olivia felt a deep connection with these lost souls and resolved to document their stories, giving voice to the voiceless. As Olivia delved deeper into her investigation, she formed a profound connection with the tormented spirits of Ravenswood. They shared their pain and their longing for release. Olivia realized that she had a unique opportunity to expose the asylum's dark past and bring closure to the restless souls. Inspired by her connection with the spirits, Olivia decided to create a documentary that would shed light on Ravenswood's history. She knew that her film could bring the truth to the world and finally provide solace to those who had suffered within the asylum's walls. Olivia's documentary gained attention from a wide audience, drawing the curious and the compassionate alike. As the truth about Ravenswood's horrors came to light, the public demanded justice for the victims and accountability for those responsible. But the malevolent forces that had plagued the asylum for centuries were not dormant. As Olivia delved deeper into her research, she uncovered a sinister entity that had preyed on the vulnerable within Ravenswood, an ancient force that sought to protect its secrets at any cost. As the malevolent entity threatened to consume everything in its path, Olivia and the tormented spirits of Ravenswood joined forces. Together they engaged in a battle between the forces of light and darkness, the living and the dead. The asylum itself became a battleground of supernatural energies. Olivia's determination and her connection with the spirits proved to be their greatest weapons against the malevolent entity. They fought to expose the truth and ensure that the souls of the asylum's victims found peace. In a climactic confrontation, Olivia and the spirits managed to weaken the malevolent entity's hold on Ravenswood. With a final, collective effort, they banished the ancient force, ensuring that the asylum's dark secrets would remain exposed for all time. With the malevolent entity vanquished, Olivia and the spirits of Ravenswood found solace and closure. The tormented souls were finally free from the asylum's oppressive grip, and their stories had been heard by the world. Olivia's documentary served as a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the power of truth. The asylum, once a place of despair and suffering, became a symbol of remembrance and justice for the forgotten. As Olivia looked back at Ravenswood one last time, she knew that the spirits had found their peace, and their stories would continue to inspire change and compassion for generations to come. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel for more similar videos. See you in the next one.